So this is work by Jessica, and if you are to rate it, I would say that in terms of the formatting, we are in agreement with her in terms of formatting paragraphs and such. In terms of the depth of the content, it lacks. I mean, it's the discussion presented is more. I'm talking about now the literature review. This chapter has looked at the online parking, vehicle parking and booking services as a technology tool based on e-services used in development of so this chapter has also given an insight to the online platform for transport. The chapter has also discussed. Okay, so what I mean is that still not a bad one. Not that I have a problem with what she has done. We can live with it. Though I'm saying as a matter of grading it, I would, in terms of concept now, because now I can concentrate with the concept. I mean, with this work now, I can look at the content itself and grade the content. The content looks average or below average there because it doesn't have issues around technology, but we can live with that. I've said we agreed that with DBIT, we'll have to compromise some sections. So now we can go to methodology, and this is the way I said it should be. So outlines the contrasting findings technique that used to study data correction. So that one I don't understand why it's capital. So this chapter was picked from some section, was copied. This kind of referencing has a problem with the way you have added it in the document. This is a paragraph that is too short to be a paragraph. So I would have wanted an illustration of the waterfall here. I mean, you can get that figure from online sources, Jessica. So in terms of, so here I don't know why you have left a lot of space there. This is okay. So in this chapter, consider discuss various. So in terms of content for this chapter on methodology, I would fully accept it, fully agree with it. Yani, this is now content looks okay. Content, because you are really talking about what I wanted to hear. What I wanted to hear is about methodology. So this one I agree with. I agree with the content. I also feel like the format is right, because except a few of those highlights that I have, I'm okay with it. So if I go to references, yeah, it looks like you've also done them properly. They are better off. So the idea is that they should be of the same. You should stick to the use of the same writing, same Times New Roman, right? Times New Roman. But I think I feel confident that those are okay. Those ones are okay. I'll check. I'll go now to the details and check whether that is in okay. Hi. So I think this is an improvement. considering what we have so far is an improvement, and we can talk about the next phase. Just do the changes that I have highlighted and should be okay. I'll check on other details that I've always sung about, the details of making sure that you don't practice plagiarism, or that those are things that I'll confirm to be sure that your work is yours. Now, I just want to check one more piece of work before I go to what you need to do. One more piece of work. So like I said, I want it to be, like I said, and I repeat, I need it to be one document, like the way Jessica has done. So you will continue adding materials. I don't just want to see a methodology only. Your document should be the whole document. That includes literature review as chapter 2, methodology as chapter 3, and now requirements as chapter 4. That's the way it should be, one document. So if you look at this work by this guy here, so this is work done by Daniel Kipkemoi. So Daniel starts with the chapter. This is the problem. So this is space, and I'm ruthless on the way you waste space. So this should not be like that. Should be, like I said, should be well centered there. Sorry, I need these two to be centered like that. And then you label. So this could be the introduction. I don't see any literature review here, and I need to see the literature review. We are building the whole document. So I need an introduction, and you need to label it. Remember, we are going to generate the table of contents. So 3.1. This work, I said I needed to be justified. You know, I will not spend the whole song singing about that. This is a misuse of full stops. This is the same problem. When you draw a figure like this, I said the way to label figures, and I mentioned this last time, the way to label figures, I have said, is that you need to label the figure chapter number. So this is chapter, if you look at this, this is chapter 3. So this should be chapter 3 dot, and this is figure 1. So like that. So all the figures here will be 3.1, 0.2, like that. They will be, that's the way they will be done. And then this figure is not a waterfall. This figure is not correct. I told you not to underline. We're back to the problem. I told you not to put for me bullets. Advantage. This is bullets. Boring. Those are mistakes that I have been singing about. I really don't want to deal with them anymore. It can be very tiring for me to repeat, write your word like this. It can be very boring. And I'm not willing to be bored now. So the other one is this one here by Samuel Gevenji. Samuel Gevenji, who insists always his work to be checked, has gone back. I said I don't want you to underline. Why would you have a full stop? Is that even a sentence? This one is centered. Why would you have a full stop there? This one must be centered. And this and this, make sure that you use the same format. If you decide that you're going to use because these are titles about the paragraph. So what I mean to say is that this looks like you're using a capital with that format. This one you're using small. So best thing is that then stick to the use of all that section. So sorry, I should have just said this is methodology. Introduction. That's okay. Why the full stop? This one here of development, you have started going for bullets again, which is something that I told you, bullets are two. Bullets again, bullets again, criticism, bullets again, advantages, bullets again. Yeah, na hii ni kitu yenye we discussed last time. Boring, bullets, I don't take that. You are a drone. You want to tell me, and you know some things I ask myself these questions because, of course, when I tell you to do something, I also ask myself, how would you have done it? You want to tell me, if I went to look for Google Scholar, and I look for waterfall, are you saying that I cannot get a good diagram from some of those published papers? Waterfall, sorry, I'm talking about waterfall model. Are you saying I cannot, even if I go over 5 documents, I cannot get a good diagram that I can cite that has waterfall? Are you saying that I cannot get a good diagram that has waterfall model? Waterfall, this one will require me to sign in. Waterfall model in software engineering. You're saying I cannot get a good I cannot get a good document, a good because this one is also not so good. Not so good. Even when I go to Google itself, are you saying that you will search for waterfall model and I go to images? Yeah, like this one. Yeah, there are so many diagrams that I can get. I believe so. And you can see that. So drawing something like this looks like a cartoon. Then you go back to bullets, then you talk bullets, disadvantages. Yeah. Bullets, disadvantages, numbered, references, poor. That one is on another level. You know, if I look at the work by Jessica, I can see there is a progress a bit. There are a few things that needs to be done, but there is progress. If I look at that work, this is work by somebody else. And this is the last one I'm looking at so that I can go ahead. Otherwise, it can be stressful. This is work done by somebody called Bosibori. So Bosibori, I said I need this. I said this one should be centered. Then you have introduction. Okay. So literature covers searching, correcting, analyzing, and from all the best issues relevant to the literature, while project knowledge gives approach and techniques to computer. This chapter is a project. The available resources. I don't know what you're saying there. Sounds like it is in 2007 that there was a technology change over experience. It was somewhere a new distribution in terms of the rise of the use of computer systems in companies. Hey, it was in 2007. I don't know what you mean here, because are you saying 2007 is when companies started to use technology? We need to study many aspects of the safe management of the retail, the well design. Wow, this space, I don't know why it should be there. Unless you want to tell me you have no content. Some of the dominant strategy for housing services provided or the efficient of this strategy has been limited to the government initiated the role of the private sector in housing management. Private sector management is defined as that. A lot of database. These are the citations. So to you, this is enough literature review. Terrible methodology, chapter on methodology. I said I need this to be. Now, this is why I said allow me to be just reviewing as you improve. You decide you need to improve. You allow me to be reviewing a few documents, because it trains how that methodology, plan, testing, finding techniques. Wow. Wow. Just wow. Now, today, I want us to go to something else, which is for progress purposes. So I want us to talk about what I would call the So I want us to talk about something in relation to the next chapter. And the chapter that I want to talk about here is chapter 4, which is requirements analysis or such. So usually this is a big section. And the reason why it is big is because it is at the end of this is where you are able to get the functions or what the system should be able to do. So what I intend that you have is, number one, you should have an introduction. So the introduction should be able to tell us, the part of the introduction should tell us what is expected of this part. Like, for example, in this section, we are going to look at, we are going to analyze the needs of the system, and then we are going to get the functional requirements, non-functional requirements, use case diagram, and such. So you tell us, maybe I should talk about it at the end, because you will see what is there. But that is, the introduction should touch on such things as what we expect from there. So the second item that should be on this part is we want to understand in this portion, we should have a section on roles. So what we mean by roles is that who are the users of your system? So maybe you have an admin. So you describe to us who an admin is. B, maybe you have a user, a customer, or something like that. I would recommend that you consider just using for you guys, please stick to only having like 2 roles. Don't go for more than that. Try to because it will be real difficult even going ahead if you will have a lot of roles. So I want a description of what an admin is with respect to your system. Just to give you an idea, an admin in a tenant management system is different from an admin in a cafeteria system. The thing that they expect or what they expect from the system. A customer in a freight management system is very different from a customer in maybe let us say a cafeteria. So provide a good description. Provide a description of this. Provide a good description of who a customer is. Just have 2 roles. Then the next part after defining the roles is for you to have a initial functional requirement. Initial functional requirements. So what I mean by initial functional requirements, tell us what the main functions that your system should be able to do. And here, this is where I totally agree that you can use bullets or numbering because I want them arranged in an order. So for example, a customer should log in or something like that. The 2, a customer, maybe a customer should order for food. This is giving us an idea. So it can be ordered. I mean, you can have those functional requirements, initial functional requirements. I want them ordered in a way. So they can be in bullets, they can be in numbers, 1, 2, 3. This is totally acceptable for this portion. Remember, for this portion I've said. Then once you do that, the next part will be data gathering. So in data gathering, I need you to have a bit of a discussion around methods that are used for data gathering. So here I'm talking about things like interviews. I'm talking about things like questionnaires, if you're going to use questionnaires or such. I'm also talking about observations as maybe something that can be used. So here, provide a discussion about what are data gathering methods, which ones you know, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages in a continuous prose. In a continuous prose, the discussion should be something that one can read as a story. And then I would want you to discuss also questionnaire now. Questionnaire is what we will use for our case. So I need you now, as you discuss questionnaire, to select it as a method for use. Select the questionnaire as the method that you're going to use. So, and when you select questionnaire as the method to be used, it means that you will have to design now questionnaire. So after that, discussing various methods and selecting questionnaire as the method to be used. So what I'm expecting now at this stage is that you present the questionnaire that you use. So as you can see, I have 2 roles, the admin and the customer. These are the people going to interact with the system. So what I expect is that you will have the admin questionnaire. So, and questions that, what would an admin be able to gain from the system? So questions that like between 5 to 7 questions design. Those questions should relate to the functions that the admin expect from the system. Then you also have one for customer, 5 to 7 questions. And those questions should be targeted to the customer to help you understand what their needs are. Now, very important that for each of these cases, you be clear on what problem you are solving so that the question you will ask will help us understand why the need for whatever you are creating. So select the questionnaire and then provide that discussion around it. usually I advise people, I advise students for the purpose of analysis, because after that questionnaire, the next step will be analysis. It is so important that the questionnaire that you set up to set, like for example, should be crossed questions or questions that are crossed. So that means, like for example, I can ask, what type of system? What type of system does your organization use today? So let us say that is a question. I would give options. Maybe here is a manual system. B is maybe a semi-automated system. And C is a computerized system, fully computerized system. So you see, when I'm doing, if users select, for example, the current system is manual, they write A or they tick A, then it would be very easy for me to analyze that kind of thing. So set questions like that. Just have only one that is open-ended. So the next question I could ask maybe, for example, how friendly is the current system? And in that question, in that case of the question, I can have options like, for example, very maybe excellent in terms of that. B, fair. C, very poor. So I'm using three options. That is, here is the middle one, exempt such. This is a way in which you can have that. And then have like 5 questions or 7. Then think of the people you are giving. So if it's an admin, perhaps it's only one person for the system you are designing, the person you target. So make sure that you are clear on that. And then maybe you can have the last question, number 5, being an open-ended. What kind of improvement would you like on your system, or something like that? And now here you allow them to write whatever they would want. That is an open-ended question. It is difficult to analyze it, but it is okay. You can have one so that then you can maybe analyze it in a continuous process. Then you repeat the same for questions that relate to the customer, and then we'll do analysis. So during the next class, this is the output. This is what I want to see. So I want to see these portions. The next class, this is what I want to see. So I'm just copying on the chat so that you can be able to see that. So what I'm saying is that that idea of what I would want to see is the questionnaire, and then whom you target with your questionnaire. So what I mean by that is whom do you target in that case? Whom do you target in that case? That is the most important thing around that. Are you targeting to who are your customers for this kind of thing? Who are you? Who is the admin? You need to have an idea. So like if it's a hotel management system, maybe I target the caretaker is the admin, and maybe the users or the customer is anybody. So here, the number of questions that you have is maybe 5 to 7, but the people you will give to answer, because anybody can be a customer in a hotel management system, you can decide to give 10 people the questionnaire. And here, maybe the admin, you only have 1 person or something like that. It's acceptable for me if that is the case. But remember, these must be people whom you must give this questionnaire. You must demo that you did that. You gave them the questionnaire and they answered. And please remember, before you have the questionnaire, you need a letter of introduction. So you need to introduce yourself in that letter, official letter that should be part of this section, and also saying what you want the users to do for you. So that is the idea of what I'm expecting. So this is chapter on requirements. I have not finished it because the truth is that if I give you all the content, seeing what I'm seeing will have a lot of difficulty. So the next part, after the next part, I'll continue building it. So you'll have 2 weeks to finish that, and then you'll give me, we'll continue with the requirements to the next part. So that is the idea of what I would expect to see in a question. Any question?